Hi guys, welcome to Farmer Fridays. My name is Elizabeth Lynch and I'm your Miss West Virginia 2022. For those of you who don't know, my Farmer Friday interviews are a way for me to get our agriculturists, our ag businesses, and our ag organizations to tell their stories and get that information out to you as consumers. So for my first interview as Miss West Virginia, I've got a really exciting one for you. I have Rhonda Jackson, who is an employee at Be Well Counseling. How are you today, Rhonda?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you so much for agreeing to this interview. So go ahead and tell me a little bit about yourself and if you have any sort of agricultural background.
Okay, so I'm a licensed independent clinical social worker in West Virginia. I've been doing this work for 32 years and love it deeply. Um, I do have an ag history, so I've owned a horse farm for a little over 20 years now in West Virginia, and we have horses and we raise hay. My kids grew up in 4-H, so yeah, so I do have that love, for the agriculture community.
I love that. And we met through an organization that I've been around since I was 14 years old. And I have seen this organization completely change lives. So go ahead and tell me about Horses with Hearts and how you got involved.
Okay, so actually my first encounter with Horses with Hearts was before coming to where I work now. I was a therapist at Shepherd University. And we would take our first year students to a day of service. And for like 3 years in a row, I got to take a group of first year university students to Horses with Hearts. And we volunteered and paint fences and pulled weeds and did all that. And that was my very first exposure. And I fell in love with, with this organization and with Kay and just their mission. And then kind of circled back around and came in contact with them again. I know we'll talk about that a little bit more. But Horses with Hearts is an absolutely magical place with people that, volunteers that love both the horses and the individuals that come, folks with varying degrees of abilities who ride and are in connection and partnership with the amazing horses that are there. And they do physical healing, emotional healing, psychological recovery. So it's just a pretty phenomenal place.
Yeah, I mean, you walk out into that farm and it's like your entire your whole body just relaxes and you feel comfortable, you feel safe. This farm is just magical is the right word, I think,
Yes.
and I
Yeah.
have seen it perform miracles. So
Yes.
tell me about your job at Be Well Counseling, and then we'll go into how those two things connected.
Sure. So I am a therapist at Be Well, which is located in Martinsburg, and Colleen Cradle owns the practice. And she also does therapy in partnership with horses. She has a passion for it. And she is actually the one that bridged Be Well Counseling and Horses with Hearts. And yeah, so folks come that are struggling with a variety of mental health issues, and we meet and we kind of figure out what's going on for them, and we come up with a treatment plan of how to move them from where their place of struggle is to what their place of healing is and what they think that looks like for them. And then I share some of my thoughts about where I also feel like they can get to. Some of my folks I see just more traditionally in office. And then some of my folks I bring to Horses with Hearts.
I love that. Traditionally, horses, of course, started off as a work type animal, and then
Yeah.
they moved into this recreational animal. And I don't know if people necessarily see them as animals to help with mental health, but that's exactly what you're doing. And this is a very, I guess, a groundbreaking program in the state of West Virginia and here in America. This is a program that people are trying to do all over the nation, but it's happening. Like, you guys are making it happen. So go ahead and tell me about how you're using Horses with Hearts to help people through their mental health journey.
Yeah, so it is also a really magical experience. I work typically from a mindfulness-based perspective, really helping people understand. So we help folks with depression, folks with anxiety, folks with trauma. That could be acute trauma, like they've been in a, terrible car accident, or even folks that have life-threatening illnesses, or maybe more chronic trauma, people growing up in, with childhood abuse. And so a big part of our work is helping people understand how the body holds those experiences and being able to understand the mechanics of how trauma, anxiety, depression, how that functions in our mind and our brain and in our body. And so the work that we're able to do in partnership with horses is that horses, one, like everything in nature, like you said, like when you come onto the farm, there is just this quieting and this calming that happens. And that's true because horses and everything in nature kind of functions at a slower, quieter place. And the way that our body works is that we do something called co-regulating with that energy level. So folks learn how, when they're working in partnership with horses, learn how to regulate their own system, how to recognize the anxiety in their body, and practice tools in partnership with horses, where they can find some ease and some calm with their struggles that they're having. And when folks have trauma, the body, the mind and the body respond in a way that's actually, its goal is to be protective, but it kind of throws us into this dysregulated state, of fight, flight, or freeze and submit. And that doesn't really work very well for us when we're not in an immediate threat situation. And horses are so great at teaching us, because they're constantly, as a prey animal, they're constantly scanning their world for, am I safe? Am I not safe? And so helping people be able to really learn from the horses how to do that for themselves. Because horses live in herds, they also help us teach relationship skills, boundary setting, trust, and just watching. I also work with kids with horses, and just like watching that confidence when they can be in partnership with such a magnificent large animal, and that animal is choosing to be in connection with them, and just that sense of empowerment that comes not just for children but adults too, who maybe have had many experiences in their life where they did not have agency. So horses really bring their own, they're so intuitive, and they really are able to mirror and pick up on, not just physically where somebody is, but just, they can also just pick up on their emotional energy level. So I never am not struck all the way to my heart and my soul when I see this work play out in this partnership between myself, the client, the horse, and then also we have an equine specialist that's also there, as well, just making sure that the horse is in, good shape. And so, yeah, it's an amazing experience to bear witness to.
And you've definitely seen a lot of success with this program, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's, I think the reality is that in our country, we are in a mental health crisis. We have wait lists that are so long, that there's not enough clinicians, people need care, people are waiting on wait lists for months to get in. And the thing about this work is I can get, like 3 sessions worth of work accomplished in one session, especially with young folks than I can sitting in an office face to face. So just in terms of being able to move people along and help them find ease and recovery more quickly, then allows us to be able to get the people in the wait list. And, so it's such a powerful, effective form of treatment where people feel better faster.
Yeah, you can definitely reach more people this way. That's phenomenal. Now, do you think this is a program that we can expand throughout the United States as a whole? We've got it here in West Virginia, and it's, again, a groundbreaking program. How do we expand it further?
Yeah, so I think this is actually, very big country, statewide or nationwide. So people are really recognizing, and I think have recognized for a while, and I think we're really fine tuning those skills. We have many organizations, PATH, EGAWA, there's lots of certification programs, research is being done. So it is really exciting that this is already happening nationwide. I'm really excited that it's in West Virginia. I think the next closest program is, pretty far away in Virginia. So I'm excited that we have it here. Where I would love to see it expand out is for this to be available to folks who maybe do not have insurance. Folks that don't have the means and the access and the privilege to access mental health care, like our folks that are insured. So being able to have grants, being able to, have our government really recognize that if we want to prevent things like mass shootings, this kind of level of trauma, we need to be addressing mental health early. And having people have access to this early on, and making it affordable, I think is where we need to expand it in our state.
I love that statement. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
People don't always associate agriculture with mental health. So you being able to bridge that gap for us and the audience at home is phenomenal. So thank you so much for being able to share your story. When I do these interviews, I like to leave people with one question. And the FFA created, I'm not too sure if you or your children were involved in FFA, but there's a speech that we all have to learn, and it's called the FFA Creed. The beginning of that begins with, I believe in the future of agriculture. And typically the answer to that is always, because we have to eat, we have to have clothes on our backs, and that's a very great reason. But you kind of bring a different reason in. So why do you believe in the future of agriculture?
I believe in the future of agriculture because I know personally that people being in connection with horses especially, but I also know the impact that 4-H and FFA have on our social emotional growth for our children, building of confidence, learning responsibility, learning how to care well for animals, and the land and our earth. Like, that's where our hope lies. And so I believe that that's our pathway to taking really good care of our earth, really good care of our social and emotional and our mental health. It's critical.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rhonda, for agreeing to do this interview with me today. I know that it can really help a lot of people listening to this. Now, if they would like to either become involved with your program and get help with horses, or even volunteer, how can they get a hold of you or the Horses with Hearts program?
So Horses with Hearts has, a wonderful website. They have a Facebook page. We love having volunteers, taking really good care of these horses, having them be filled up, nurtured, loved, comfortable, cared for. helps them to be able to do their work well. So we're always excited to have volunteers and also folks to work, with the kids as well. So just go to that website, Be Well Counseling. Also, we have a website where folks can access, they can request an appointment. So yeah, we're available on the web.
And I'll definitely post those two websites that you can go visit on this interview so that people can go ahead and access those two resources. But again,
Awesome.
thank you so much for agreeing to take your time with me today.
No, it was delightful, and congratulations on being Miss West Virginia. We're all really, really proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. And thank you guys at home for watching this interview. I cannot wait to post more for you guys to see. So that was the end of my Farmer Friday interview. And as always, please remember to thank your farmers.